Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Wednesday, October 18th. So today we do have the moon in Sagittarius all day, which means that we are tapping into a new level of positivity, of optimism, of confidence, of vision, excitement, adventure. We're trying to grasp a vision and a dream of what it is that we would like to be moving forward closer to. And of course, because we're trying to renew our faith, our trust, not only within ourselves, but the greater, grander plan, there's a lot that we are hopeful for, that we are wishing for, and that is finally being realized. Now, of course, we do have to watch out for being a little bit more extravagant, more extra, more dramatic than we need to be. Jupiter, of course, rules over this Sag energy and tends to magnify, turn the volume all the way up on things. Not that that's a bad thing, but we do, typically speaking, bite off more than we can chew. We do kind of over or underestimate our abilities to bring some of the visions, the dreams, the goals to life. And so we do have to be cautiously aware of where it is that we're maybe getting too carried away or ahead of ourselves. But nonetheless, we will have some aspects here today that really are going to illuminate for us where it is that we do have to project ourselves a little bit more into the future to grasp a vision and a dream of what it is that we want to manifest. But we do have to rein ourselves back in, grounding ourselves in logic and practicality, and just kind of using a good level of common sense. So there are 10 different aspects here today. 7 of them are going to involve the moon. Before we get into moon aspects, we have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, and how it is that we express ourselves in this Libran energy. Again, very stuck on the fence about some choices, about some decisions. Indecision reigns supreme with this Libran energy. And we are sorting out the pros and cons and really trying to come to an agreement, to a compromise, to a middle ground on some of our thoughts, some of our feelings, some of the choices and decisions that we currently have on our plate to choose and decide from. Mercury is going to be making a semi-square, creating a little bit of a tension point, a little bit of conflict with Venus. Venus, of course, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money. She's in this Virgo energy, trying to fix and heal and repair the areas of our lives that we do have control over, making small adjustments in our physical realm to orient to happiness, to joy, to pleasure, to safety, security, to stability. We're taking a logical, practical, grounded approach to making the smaller adjustments that we actually have control over right now in our heart space, in our mind space, and in our physical realm. Now, this is a interesting dynamic because, of course, Venus rules over the Libran energy that Mercury is currently sitting in. Venus still very much in her rulership, being in Libra season. This is going to highlight for us where it is that we are starting to realize some issues, some problem areas, some circumstances, especially in our relationship dynamics, that we're just not happy with. We're a little bit hypersensitive, we're on edge, we're semi-defensive, we're lacking mental focus, lacking mental clarity. We are having a hard time even trying to piece together what it is that we're thinking, let alone what we're feeling, and be able to articulate that in a way that we understand, let alone how other people understand. Of course, we had this major conflict, this tension point here on Tuesday with Mercury, with Uranus really coming together and creating a lot of difficulties of perception, of understanding, of communication within ourselves, within our relationship dynamics. And this particular aspect is kind of feeding off of that. We're having a hard time really addressing what the actual problem is, and therefore we're kind of nitpicking. Again, Virgo energy that Venus is in, we're nitpicking where it is that maybe there are bigger issues than what it is that we've actually come to realize. We're very much focused on the smaller details of the inner workings of our mental plane, which typically speaking is a little bit of a negative Nancy at this particular point in time. And we're really picking apart our emotions, really getting down to the nitty gritty on what it is that we just cannot stand, what we can't tolerate, and in turn coming up with better alternatives on what it is that we would like to create in the space of the things that we have to get rid of. Now, the moon is going to go ahead and get into the boxing ring with Venus. And so this is highlighting for us where it is that we're having a hard time visualizing our future, capturing vision and dreams and goals of what it is that we want to be building towards, because we're not quite sure how we're going to kind of drop some heavier weights in our lives, especially where relationship dynamics are concerned. We're having a hard time figuring out what actually needs to happen in our here and now in order for the vision, the dream, the goal to actually manifest. And a lot of this is because many of us are in denial right now about the people that we're sharing time and space with, and how it could be that we could continue to hang on to these connections and attachments when we know damn well that we've outgrown them. So we're having a hard time trying to capture that vision of our futuristic self and circumstance without some of the people, some of the aspects that we're currently desperately holding on to, knowing damn well that our time has come to an end. The moon is then going to semi-square with Mercury. So as you can see here, there is this trio of interactions really highlighting for us conflict, disconnect, distance between our heart and our head. The moon is our heart space, Mercury is our head space, and a semi-square is going to highlight the distance, the gap, if you will, that are separating our emotions from our perspective, our ideas, our choices, our decisions, and what in our emotional realm is blocking us from actually making those particular choices and decisions. So we're definitely going to be illuminated to where it is that our heart and our head is not on the same page. And from that particular epiphany and aha moment, we can start really kind of processing what needs to stay and what needs to go in order for us to reach a healthy balance point, a compromise, if you will, between what it is that we're thinking and what it is that we're feeling. The sun in Libra energy is going to directly oppose and sit across from, while also sitting next to and teaming up with the nodes of the moon. Okay, so let's unpack this. We have the south node of the moon in Libran energy. That is the path in which we've come from. That is what's comfortable, that is what is familiar, but it's also what it is that we've outgrown. The north node in Aries energy is the path that we need to be on in order for us to grow, to improve, to evolve. This is what the eclipse energy that we're currently sitting in is all about. So here we have the sun in Libra energy sitting next to, teaming up with the south node in this Libra energy. First of all, what this is going to do is it's going to show us where it is that we're desperately holding on to the old, desperately holding on to things that no longer support us, who it is that we are, what it is that we love, what it is that we want to do, where it is that we want to grow, what it is that we want to evolve into. We're holding on to it because it's comfortable, because it's familiar, because it's predictable. But of course, that sounds like a comfort zone, and no growth, no evolving takes place in our comfort zone. In the same token, we have the sun in Libra energy sitting across from the north node in Aries energy, really understanding where the scales are out of balance because we're putting too much time, energy, attention, and weight into holding on to the things that are no longer serving us, instead of releasing that particular weight and opening ourselves up to something new. The hesitation, the insecurities, the fears, the doubts are really getting to us at this particular point in time. We are in eclipse window energy, just a reminder. And so because we don't really know what's going on and what's going to happen and where it is that we're going, the natural default of the egoic programming is to stick with the same old, same old. But of course, we are lacking a lot of the information, a lot of the details, a lot of the clarity that many of us need in order to make that informed decision on how it is that we can wholeheartedly move away from some of the things that we're desperately holding on to. And so we are going to have a very, very dramatic illumination on what it is that we're holding on to too tightly and what it is that we need to free our hands up in order to receive. And again, this is a balance between realizing what it is that we've outgrown, what it is that's no longer serving us, and balancing that out with having the boldness, the bravery, the courage to not only walk away from the old, but to initiate a new beginning, a new chapter of creating something new in the place of the things that we definitely need to be letting go of. The moon is then going to interact with the nodes. So this is a little bit, and again, it's not the most positive of aspects. This again is kind of illuminating for us where it is that we're too ahead of ourselves. Again, the moon in Sag constantly projecting us in a futuristic vision, in a futuristic realm where we can start kind of piecing together what it is that we want to manifest, what it is that we want to create. But there's so much stagnancy because of what it is that we're holding on to that we're having a hard time even floating away in la la land to imagine what it is that we would like to be living in, what it is that we would like to be experiencing in a futuristic realm. This is a blockage of growth. This is a blockage of insight. This is a blockage of evolution that we essentially are doing to ourselves by holding on too tightly to the aspects, to the elements that, of course, we have outgrown. The moon then going to semi-square with the sun. So again, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of conflict already being built up here today. The moon represents our past, the sun represents our future, the sun in Libra trying to get us balanced, trying to get those scales between our heart and our head, our inner realm, our outer realm, our ego self, our higher self, us and the people around us into balance, into a new energetic exchange. But of course, our old belief systems, our old experiences, the old aspects that we're holding on to are preventing us from seeing where it is that the scales are unbalanced. We are very focused on making sure that we are grasping so tightly to the things that have gotten to us to this particular point that we really don't have the kind of trust, the kind of faith at this particular moment to release all of that and see what the universe delivers in the place of the things that we are looking to let go of. The moon is then going to interact with Jupiter. Jupiter rules over the Sag energy that the moon is in, and Jupiter is currently retrograde in Taurus energy. This particular interaction isn't going to be nice. It's going to magnify for us where it is that we are the problem, where it is that we're blocking the growth, the improvement, the progression, the productivity of actually evolving. Jupiter is going to turn the volume all the way up on what it is that we are holding on too tightly to, especially in our physical realm. Taurus energy, fixed earth sign, doesn't really like change. Even holding on to the uncomfortability of the situation and circumstance that we're currently sitting in seems better, seems more appealing to us right now than letting go of it and tapping into a boldness, a bravery, a courage that we need in order to create something new. So this is going to put a lot of feels on us. This is going to open our eyes up to the bigger, greater, grander problem, which is us, our belief system, not feeling confident enough to truly release the old elements of the old self in order to get down to business to start creating something new. The moon is then going to semi-square, again, creating tension and conflict with Pluto. Pluto, of course, is the great transformer, now direct in Capricorn energy, trying to get us to boss up, trying to get us to take our power and control over our lives back, trying to put us in a situation where we take some of the pain and trauma and negative experiences that we had in our past and flip that script in order to empower us to make a great change, a great transformation for the betterment of our higher selves. This is a semi-square. This is tension. This is conflict. This comes down to the fact that we essentially are in a particular mind space where we don't have the confidence. We don't feel equipped. We don't feel prepared right now to let go of the old in order to embody the new. We know we have to make changes. We know we're on the precipice, the cusp of a major transformation, but we're really questioning whether or not we're ready for it. Therefore, the negative narrative that we have, the lack of confidence that we are having within ourselves, the belief structure that is very limiting and restricted at this time is really holding us back from really feeling like we're in control and really tapping into that creator energy. We finally get a good aspect here today, which is the moon and Sag trining, beautiful interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in Aries energy. This is fire on fire action. This is what gives us our trine. Our trine is a harmonization of these energies that promotes a gentle nudge in the right direction where growth, improvement, change, and transformation is concerned. What we're kind of gathering from this particular interaction is that the funk that this whole entire day has already existed of, although may not have been as pleasant as we would have preferred, did illuminate us to where it is that we are essentially needing to flip the script on ourselves, where it is that we need to give ourselves a good little pep talk, if you will, where it is that we really need to change our perspective and our belief system in order for us to see ourselves in a different light, to see ourselves in a more positive light, a more well-equipped, well-prepared light, instead of the light in which we currently been sitting in, which really was filled with fears, doubts, and insecurities. The last aspect that we have here today is the sun in Libran energy making a very awkward interaction with Neptune, who is in his place of power, retrograde in this Pisces energy. What this is going to do is, well, first of all, not the greatest thing for us. It's going to add an extra layer of uncertainty or indecision. Now, again, we're in Libra season. Indecision is the name of the game. We have a lot of questions. We actually have more questions than we have answers. We have this urgency, this impulse, this desire to fix everything overnight. We have this want, need, and desire to make changes and transformations, even though we don't feel like we are well equipped to do so at this particular point in time. And so the fog, if you will, the confusion, the indecision is getting laid on us pretty thick with this particular aspect. First of all, we're going to feel very low on energy, especially on spiritual energy. We really are lacking in faith. And so we are recognizing, especially in our physical realms and our relationship dynamics, who and what is sucking the life force energy out of us, who is draining us of our very little energy that we have at this particular moment. We don't know what people want from us, and in a certain sense, we don't really care what other people want from us because we really would just like to focus on what we want, what we need, what we desire. Again, these are all topics and themes of the nodes of the moon, Aries versus Libra energy, trying to strike a balance from doing what it is that we need to do to honor our commitments and our obligations to other people while still honoring what it is that we need to be doing for ourselves. So we feel off. We're out of touch with our intuition, with our higher selves. We're lacking information and we are unable to communicate what's going on within us. We're having a hard time concentrating. We're having a hard time being positive in our la land state, trying to conjure up a new vision and dream for us to be kind of working towards. We're having a hard time figuring out how it is that we're going to get out of this particular circumstance. And we're having a hard time just understanding how, in this particular moment, we're going to be able to actually make the move, make the change, initiate the transformation into something different. So especially when it comes to our spiritual needs, we need a little bit of a renewal, a refresher, if you will. There is this urgency. There is this, I'm going to say, impulse to just kind of do everything now. But what we need to be doing is kind of slowing down. We need to be in this observer mode to observe where it is that adjustments need to be made. And if we are just so overwhelmed with confusion and with fears and doubts and insecurities, it makes it very hard for us to be able to see a way out of our current circumstances.